Good morning, students. This is a Prasad sir talking with you, where in last class you have studied the botany, where that was explained by the Srinivas sir. So here we have studied the first topic is a living world, and the second one is the biological classification, and a third one is the plant kingdoms. We have studied, you have studied already, have studied, that was explained by the Srinivas sir. And next, that is the fourth topic, which is we can studying, that is called as the animal kingdom. So here animal kingdom, it belongs to the topic the zoology. So here we will deal with the subject. I am deal with zoology. Not only I myself, another madam is presenting who he deals with the zoology also. That means myself as well as the Sumitra madam will deals with the topics of zoology, and Srinivas sir, another person, can deals with the topics of botany they deal with. So that now we are going to discussing the topic of the zoologies. Now coming to the basic, we will go from basic to the topics will go. That means first we will discuss the basic foundation of the basic foundation, where we have studied in the earlier classes. That is, we have studied in a 9th and a 10th class. We have studied already these topics which we are teaching. These topics are already, they are studied. You have studied in the last classes, that is in previous classes, that is 9th and 10th. They are will having the basic level will be presenting, but in this 11th standard, that is 11th grade or 11th standard or first PUC level, will reverse the same topic only, but will go for extensively, will go for detailedly, will discuss in these topics only. So now coming to the first one, already we know that the biology, we are the biology. So here we know that what is a biology means the studying of living organisms, the studying of living organisms. So that study of living organisms, bio means living, and logy means studying. Bio means a life or living organisms. That means organisms which consist of life. So they are called them as the living organisms, and logy means the studying. So here we will study about the study of a life or a living organisms. We are not studying the life. So here we are studying only living organisms. I mean, in living organisms, what are the activities which are taken place in an organisms, that all are discussed in this subject. That is, in a living organisms, there are having several characteristic features are presenting. Either it may be plants or the animals. So here they are having the life. That means the various metabolical activities which are present in a living organisms. That activities which are presenting, that means the daily activities which are taken place by the living organisms, that we will studying about in these topic, that is biology. So here biology is classified into two types. It is classified into two types. It is classified into two types. One is we can call as the botany, and the second one is called as the zoology. So here botany means it is a branch of a biology. It is deals with the study of a plants. Here the study of a plant, that means here not only plants, that means from a green plant, that means from lower organisms, from lower plants to the highly developed trees. In these we'll study about detailed structures, where here we'll study the morphological as well as physiological and activities, and also behavioral activities. And also here we'll study about the various types of diseases which are caused by the plants also. That means here study about the plants and their disorders are also we'll discuss in these topics, that is we can call as a botany, where here it is a branch of a biology which deals with the study of plants and their disorders. That means morphological will study, and physiological as well as internal structures also will study. And also here what are the diseases caused by the plants. Various plants will get various types of diseases, how they are able to get and how we can able to cure these type of diseases, that will discuss detailedly in the plants. Likewise here zoology, second one. So here we'll study about the study of animals. So here we'll study the animals. Animals means here the invertebrates as well as the vertebrates. So here animals are classified into two types. One is we can call as an invertebrates. The animals are classified into two types. One is invertebrates as well as second one is the vertebrates. So here these are classified, that means animals are classified into two types. So what are that we'll discuss later. So here we'll study the animals. Animals means here they will study about morphological characters of an animals as well as the physiological activities. Otherwise you can study the anatomy of the animals and anatomy of the structures, that means various structures of the plants, that is animals will discuss. And they also will discuss the disease which is caused by the animals. What are the various types of diseases are caused, that how to cure the various types of diseases, that will discuss in this topic, that is we can call that as zoology. So here these are the two main branches. What is that? The botany and zoology are the pure branches which are presenting in the that is in the biology. So here biology means studying of living organisms. So here living organisms means plants, animals and microbes. So these are all the three organisms where they having their life is presenting. So here in these organisms we will discuss the life, that means study of living organisms. So we can call as the biology. So here biology will having two main branches. One is called as the botany, where it deals with the plants, and zoology where it deals with the animals. And now I am dealing only with the zoology only. That means myself and the Madam Sumitra Madam will discuss the topic of that is zoology will be discussed. And now coming to the animals which are presenting, that is here the animals, the study of the animals we can call as zoology. Here animals are classified into two types. One is vertebrates and invertebrates. What are that vertebrates and invertebrates? Later we will discuss, detailedly we will discuss in the topics of the animal kingdoms. In the animal kingdom we will discuss detailedly in this topic, that is in vertebrates as well as invertebrates. So now coming to this, that when we will discuss how. Now coming to the an animal kingdom. Animal kingdom. So here animal kingdom. So here what is an animals? What are animals? So here what are animals means, here the animals means these are the type of members where these are grouped under a kingdom called as an Animalia. It is kingdom, it is all animals are belongs to the kingdom Animalia. Animalia means all the animals are belongs to the only one kingdom. So here what are animals means, these are a multicellular, these are a multicellular heterotrophic these are multicellular heterotrophic motile and consisting of sensory and neuromotor cells, sensory and neuromotor cells. So such type of organisms we can call them as the animals. That means these are all animals are the multicellular. Here multicellular, heterotrophic and motile and consisting of sensory as well as the neuromotor cells are presenting, so that we can call them as the animals. So here what are that means what are these, we'll discuss one by one. Here a multicellular, multi means more, cellular that means a cell. If the organism consists of more than one cell it is presenting. If the multicellular means organism consists of more than one cell, are called as a multicellular organisms. We can call them as multicellular and organisms. So here what are organisms means, why we can call them as organism means, here will consist of the organization is presenting. Here what are organisms, why you can call them as the organism. Here why the animals or plants will be called as the organisms. Why means here will having the grade of that means grade of organization is presenting. If it contains the grade of organization, then we can call them as an organisms. That means here will having the organization is presenting. Here organization is starts with the protoplasmic grade of organization, from protoplasmic to the cell to the tissues to the organs, and organs to the organ systems. So that will having in animals we can call them as organisms means will having a grade of or organization is presenting. What are that grade of organization later we'll discuss detailedly in future classes. will discuss these how the grade of organization is presenting in an animals. And here they having more than one cells are presenting. If the organism containing more than one cell, so such type of organisms are called as a multicellular organisms. And here the heterotrophs. Here heterotrophs. Heterotrophs means here heterotroph. Heterotrophic or heterotrophs. We can call them as the heterotrophs. What is heterotrophs means? Here organisms cannot prepare their own food materials, but they depends on other organisms as the food materials. Then such type of organisms are called as heterotrophs. That means here organisms cannot prepare their own food materials. 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 Cannot prepare their own food materials, but depends on other organisms as food materials. So such type of organisms we can call them as the heterotrophs. So here we'll having the heterotrophs. What are the heterotrophs means? They cannot prepare. Why means here the plants in animals there is a chlorophyll is absenting. The chlorophyll pigments in animals, the chlorophyll pigments are absent. So due to the absence of the chlorophyll pigments, we cannot able to prepare our own food materials. So here we are depending on other organisms as the food materials, so that here we can call as a heterotrophic nutrition. That means hetero means different. Tropic means a nutrition. Will having the animals will having a different type of nutrition is presenting. Nutrition means nourishing or taking of food materials into the body, so that we can call as nutrition. So here will having a hetero means different. Here hetero means different, and the trophs means nutrition. So you are having a different mode of nutritions are presenting, so that these organisms are called as a heterotrophic organisms, where means they cannot prepare their own food materials, but depends on other organisms as the food materials, so that we can call them as the heterotrophic organisms. And here a motile means the organisms which moves from one place to another place. So here we are having that means the organisms which are presenting. Later we will discuss one by one detailedly. That means here we are having a motile. That means the organisms which can having the moving from one place to the another place, we can call them as motile. And also will having a sensory neuromotor. Sensory means sense organs are presenting. That is there are 5 sense organs in our body, such as eyes, ears, nose, tongue and skin. These are the five types of the sense organs which helpful for the giving sense for the environment. Likewise, neuromotor, that means here nerves are present in our body. These nerves will stimulate the body to an external stimuli. That means if any external stimuli are taken place, here automatically our body will receive the stimulus and response will be taken place. So here it takes place response to a stimuli. It takes place a response to the stimuli will be taken place. So these are called them as the animals. So these are the animals where later will in silent features of the characters will discuss the one by one detailedly will discuss in these on the characters. So here these are that means animals are multicellular, a heterotrophic, a motile, and also the consisting of sensory and also a neuromotor cells are presenting. Then such type of organisms we can call them as an animals. So what are these? We'll discuss now. Now coming to the next one, that is here Aristotle. Here Aristotle classified classified the organism. So here Aristotle we called as the father of a biology. You can call as the father of biology and also the father of the zoology also. So here Aristotle classified the animal kingdom based on the presence of the red blood cells. Here based on the presence of the red blood cells, here the Aristotle classified the organisms. Aristotle classified the animals into two types. So here one we can call as anemia, and second one is called as anemia. Here one we can call as anemia and the second one is called as the anemia. So here what are anemia means? If the organism containing, that means if they contains red blood cells are presenting. If the organism consisting of the red blood cells then such type of organisms are called as anemias. And anemia, A means absenting. Here the absence of the red blood cells. So such type of organisms are called as anemias. And also he classified based on the presence of the egg laying, based on the presence of an egg. Here the organisms that is classified into two types. One is oviparity and also second one is the viviparity. Here oviparity, that means based on the egg laying. Here the organisms are classified into two types. That means if the organisms can able to produce an eggs from egg, it can able to produce an young ones, we can call them as oviparities. That means if the organisms developed from egg and produce an egg, and the organism developed from the egg by undergoing the several stages. So here the egg, that means organism developing from an egg, we can call it as ovi means egg, parity means producing. Here organisms are produced from an egg by hatching of these eggs. Here organisms are producing, so we can call them as ovi parity, and the organisms can directly produce young ones if the organisms produce directly young ones. If they produce directly young ones are called as the viviparities. That means here there is no hatching. So here they produce after the 9 months. Here for example we take humans. Humans, when their fertilization is taken place, here after 9 months here young ones are produced directly. Then such type of organisms which can produce directly and young ones are producing, then such type of organisms are called as viviparities or viviparas, or we can use the word as viviparas or viviparity. And oviparity means if the organisms are developed, they produce the eggs. From the eggs, if they are hatching of the eggs, if they can able to produce an young ones, then such type of organisms are called as oviparities or oviparas and organisms. So here the Aristotle classified the organisms, the animals into, based on the presence of red blood cells, they are classified into anemia and anemia. And based on the presence of the egg, here these are classified into oviparity and also the viviparity. And also here we know that already we have studied the Whittaker's classification. We have studied the Whittaker's classification. So Whittaker classified the organisms into 5 kingdoms. First one is monirens, second one is a protista, and the third one is a fungi, and fourth one is a plantae, and lastly here we can call them as an Animalia. So here Animalia means all animals are grouped under one category, that is called as a kingdom and Animalia. So here the organisms which are presenting in the animals here will shows a different silent features are presenting. So that silent features will helpful for the organisms, or the silent features of the animals, that is animals will having some silent features are presenting. That silent features are such as first one we have studied the multicellular organisms, and they are heterotrophic. And also here will shows that there are that is motile, and also the sensory motor, sensory as well as neuromotor cells are presenting. And also here it shows the reproduction. Here locomotion, reproduction as well as the development will be taken place. So these are the silent features of organisms. That silent features what will containing that will be discussed one by one in this topic. Now coming to the silent features of animals. Silent features of kingdom Animalia. So here already we know that the first one is these are multicellular organisms. Multicellular organisms, that means organisms will consist of more than one cells are presenting. So we can call them as a multicellular organisms. And second one, these are all animals are eukaryotic organisms. These are eukaryotic eukaryotic, eukaryotic and organisms. So here these are eukaryotic. Eu means true. True. Karyote means nucleus. So here the organisms which contains a true nucleus is presenting. If the organisms containing a true nucleus is presenting, then such type of organisms are called as eukaryotes. That means eukaryotes means here true nucleus. What is the true nucleus? We may get the doubt. What is the true nucleus means here the nucleus is associated with, that means here all cell organelles are presenting along with the nucleus, and also a nucleus here will consist of a DNA. Along with the DNA it consists of an histone proteins are also presenting. Then such type of nucleus we can call them as a eukaryotic. In prokaryotic will having a definite nucleus is not be present. That means nuclear membranes, nuclear envelopes are absenting, but here a nuclear membrane and nuclear envelopes are presenting, and also here in prokaryotes will having DNA is not associated with histone protein. They are in form of a chromatin network. These are presenting in the form of a chromatin and network structure is presenting. But here in these eukaryotes will having the DNA is associated with a histone proteins. DNA is associated with a histone proteins. Proteins. So such type of nucleus are called as a eukaryotic nucleus, and also will consist of cell membranes and nuclear membranes, and also here will consist of all cell organelles are presenting. All the cell organelles. All cell organelles are presenting. All cell organelles are present, including the ribosomes. Including the ribosomes. So means here what are the cell organelles? What are the cell organelles? The tiny particles which are presenting. What are the cell organelles means? Tiny particles present in a cell are called as the cell organelles. So here there are various types of cell organelles are presenting, including the ribosomes. So here plasma membrane as well as the endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi complex, and also vacuoles. In plants vacuoles are presenting, in animals the vacuoles are absenting, but here will containing, so here centrioles are presenting, in animals the centrioles are presenting. So these are the various types of cell organelles: mitochondria, Golgi complex, all these we can call them as the cell organelles are presenting, including the ribosomes. So including all cell organelles are presenting, along with the DNA is associated with histone proteins, then such type of the organisms, such type of nucleus we can call them as eukaryotic organisms. They are having a true nucleus. True nucleus means all cell organelles are presenting, along with a DNA is associated with nucleus. The DNA is associated with a histone proteins. So we can call them as a eukaryotic organisms. And next coming to the third one. The third one is the heterotrophs or heterotrophic nutrition. So here already we studied heterotrophs means hetero means different. Hetero means a different trophic means a nutrition. So here organisms will having that means the organisms, organisms which are present in these will having the various types of a mode of nutrition. Here will having the organisms will have different mode of nutrition. Will having a different type of mode of nutrition is presenting. That means here organisms are otherwise having different type of nutrition, or otherwise we can explain the organisms which cannot prepare their own food materials, but they depends on other organisms as they food materials. Then such type of organisms are called as heterotrophic organisms. So here there are various types of the organisms are presenting, various type of mode of nutritions are presenting. So here we can use the first one we can take in place as there are different type of mode of nutritions are presenting. So here we can call them as the different type of nutrition having a different mode of nutritions are presenting. So we can call them as the heterotrophic nutrition. So we'll having a different types. That means they cannot prepare their own food materials, but they depends on other organisms as the food materials. So that we can call them as the herbi. So we can call them as heterotrophs. So here first one is herbivores. Here herbivores. We can call them as herbivores. Second one is the carnivores. The third one is the omnivores. And the fourth one is these parasites. And fifth one is the saprophytes. Frutivores. Here frutivores. Frutivores. Sanguivores. And also here these are the various types of the nutritions are presenting. So here these are the different types of nutrition, that is herbivores, carnivores, omnivores, parasites, and also the saprophytes, and also the frutivores, and also the sanguivores, and also the cannibivores. Cannibivores means their own organisms are killed and they are eaten as food materials. So we can call them as sanguivorous organisms. So these are the various types that are these are the having a different modes. So here what are these different modes? That is herbivores, the carnivores, omnivores, the parasites, the saprophytes, and frutivores, and the sanguivores that will be discussed detailedly in the next class.